Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Mainlines The Meta. I'm your host, Charles Powers. Y'all know me. I'm joined today by Gaby Jackman, aka Black Crystal, or BK, the cosplay queen, the Overwatch shot caller extraordinaire, the Soul Calibur dominator, the Call of Duty carrier, the one and only. But I don't know if that's saying much because, you play on console.
Okay, come on, yeah, Team Xbox. I'm still waiting here for cross-platform, but it's okay though. We all know it's PC Master Race.
Okay, so you know what's up, I am very excited to have you on the show. Welcome to the Meta.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been a competitive gamer my whole life, constantly watching esports from the shadows. So I'm hyped to have the opportunity to finally be a part of it. I can't wait to dive in what we have lined up.
Yeah, we have a pretty cool show for you guys today. Overwatch League Season 2 is getting ready to start, so we're pretty hyped about that. Respawn also just launched a new game, Apex Legends.
Yes, I managed to get a chance to play it, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not a big fan of battle royales, but I love Titanfall.
Titanfall shooting mechanics are some of the best, right?
Yeah.
So seeing that come to the popular BR genre, oof. Ah, man, I'm hyped.
Oh yeah, also, Genesis 6 just wrapped up, and surprise, one of the 5 gods won.
And Dota chess? We'll talk about that all coming up, so sit back, relax. This is The Meta. We start tonight with just a bit of OWL news before our Season 2 breakdown with our special guest later in the show. Now, as we reported a few episodes ago, Fanatics, they have the exclusive rights to produce all OWL apparel, and we finally get to see the first batch. There were some pretty cool things for fans to get their hands on, like signed jerseys. My favorite by far is Prophet's signature. But fans and even some players, they think that the jerseys are a little overpriced. Here is DeFran's take on the price of the jerseys.
$85, dude. What the? Why is it so expensive?
There were also some complaints about the replica jerseys not completely matching their pro jersey counterparts. Here you can see the signature jersey and a replica one side by side.
Yeah, the logo on the replica is smaller and the colors aren't even the same. I think I'm with DeFran on the price currently, but Fnatic announced that this is just the first batch and there'll be more to come. So Charles, did you happen to see the big event that happened last weekend?
Yeah, but I didn't spend too much time watching the game. I was just kind of there for the commercials. The game itself was pretty boring.
The game?
Yeah.
What game? I'm talking about Genesis 6.
Oh.
Last weekend, some of the best in Smash Bros. Met up in Oakland, California. Now, there are a few people questioning whether Smash Melee was going to continue to be a major event after the release of Ultimate, but with over 1,100 registered players for Melee, I don't think this 17-year-old title is going to be stopped anytime soon. The winner of the Smash Melee singles event was Hungrybox. Not everyone agrees with his character choice, but you can't really knock his results. In Smash Ultimate Singles, MKLeo was nearly unstoppable. He took a loss in the top 8 to Samsora, but got his revenge in the losers finals. In the grand finals, he won the first match to reset the match, and then had a dominant showing in the reset to take home his 3rd Genesis Smash trophy in 3 years. It was disappointing that they played the tournament on an older patch, so we didn't get to see any Piranha Plant action.
Oof, that would have been nice. But I guess we'll just have to wait for the next tournament. But for competitive integrity, you can't just use the newest patch, right? The Smash community, they really go all out for these events. The venue was open for 24 hours, and there were games being played around the clock. I would also like to shout out friends of the Meta, Dark Wizzy and Salem, what up? They took home the Smash Ultimate Doubles title, so shout outs to them.
Yes, congratulations.
Call of Duty World League got its start this week, and just like the game, there's never a dull moment. Optic went from being upset on Monday to a close series on Tuesday to a dominant win on Wednesday. Tuesday's series was probably the most interesting. Optic and UIU were 2-2 going into the final match, and Optic, they were going for a sweep in the search and destroy game mode when Crimsix lined up the perfect shot, fired, and then got really confused when the bullet missed. He went on Twitter to air his grievances. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to go flawless map 5, and then Bungie decided to strike again. Bro, what? Luckily, the missed shot didn't affect the outcome of the match, and Optic went on to win it. Hit reg has been an issue in COD, especially in online play, but the fact that this happened at LAN could lead to problems later on in the league.
I mean, it's funny, Charles, because when we play games together, you always say you're aiming right at people, but you hardly ever get any kills. This story actually makes me want to believe you.
That's cold. And you actually should believe me. Don't be like Buck. Don't be like Buck. Just believe me.
I mean, after our Overwatch game last night, I'm not so sure about that.
First of all, I was Moira. I healed you guys completely and thoroughly.
You were trying.
So,
I think I out-healed you as Zen, though. I'm pretty sure I did.
That's not true. Not true.
We won't talk about him stalling a cart that didn't need to be stalled.
And we won't talk about you talking about what we said we were not going to talk about.
Go, man.
All right. We here at the Meta, we always keep our eyes out for the next top esports. Dota Auto Chess is probably not that game, but it's getting a lot of traction. Now, Dota Auto Chess is a Dota 2 custom game where 8 players defend their chessboard against a random player in each round. Each champion has 2 or 3 classes, and you get bonuses for having multiple of the same class. Still really confused as to why they called it chess, but the game does look really fun.
And it's pretty simple to play, yet very difficult to master, and even more difficult not to uninstall after some bad RNG, according to our producer, Scoon. The player count is usually around 100,000, but it's speculated that some of those numbers are due to a bug. The real reason that we're interested to see how this game does is because Dota 2 was originally crafted from a mod, and to think that a mod of a mod could be the next big thing is pretty cool.
A mod of a mod of a mod. It's
Mods
very
on.
meta. It's kind of what we do here. It's our thing. It's our stick, right? Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will be joined by our 2 special guests, NA Contenders casters, Ham and Boop. Very cool. Don't go anywhere. We're talking Overwatch League coming up right after the break. This is The Meta. Welcome back to The Meta. I'm very excited to be joined by Evie and Chris, aka Boop NATO. Man, you guys, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, man. Good to see you, and it's good to be able to talk a little bit about Overwatch.
Yes,
Very exciting.
we're gonna get into it because Overwatch Season 2, a couple of days away. So right off the bat, let's just jump right in. What are some of your predictions as far as the new season? Because you guys casted contenders, NA contenders. There are a lot of storylines there. There are a lot of teams that rolls up. So what should we be looking forward to as far as Season 2 goes?
I think it's going to be a little bit of the same and a lot of difference, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think we're going to see a lot of the same people on the top side of our rankings at the end of the season. The New Yorks, the Londons.
The New York Excelsior, London Spitfire, super strong, all Korean powerhouses. You can't cut them out of the competition at all. But there's tons of new, fresh faces, right? Just jockeying for position. There's the expansion teams that I believe you guys, have actually talked at length about.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest parts is the fact that now we get to see these expansion teams come in and we get to see a little bit of new versus old, right? Are the Titans going to be able to come in and run away with things, right? Or are they going to or is it going to be a disappointment? Are we going to find out that year in Overwatch League already for a team like the Fusion is that important and will give them the heads up advantage against everybody else? And so that's what I'm really, really excited for, is just inherently new storylines with these new expansion teams, because no one really knows how they're going to perform.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's Overwatch League. We had an amazing inaugural season, right? You had the 12 original teams. And of course, there were, some at the top and some that kind of fell down to the bottom. Shanghai Dragons. But it's, a question of, is that happening just because they're in that bubble? Are there new fresh takes, new fresh looks, right? All of these expansion teams coming in, and there is some serious hype behind some of these teams. Hangzhou Spark comes to mind. The Vancouver Titans probably going to be, big players at the very top. So this is a big test for these original teams. Yeah, you got a season behind you, but what more are you going to bring to the table? Because you can never be complacent in the Overwatch League.
Yeah, I think that now, instead of when you do your first Thanksgiving meal out of college, right? You have a turkey and some mashed potatoes and maybe some corn. right? Now we've got like the whole
You got the
spread
fixings.
of-
Keep leveling it
yeah,
up, right?
exactly. And so that's what's really exciting about this upcoming season for me, for sure.
Yeah, bringing in like the macaroni and cheese with the beanie wieners on top and all kinds of goodness. Yeah, so like all around the expansion teams. But my biggest question, actually, Boop, I know you've been thinking about this. Is like, okay, so we all have our favorites, right? You love the Philadelphia Fusion. I'm a big fan of the London Spitfire. But if they're gonna lose, what's gonna happen? Because both of us kind of have these favorite teams at the very top, but you never know what like horrible, end of the world scenario is it going to be that
Well, I
knocks the
think-
Philly Fusion out of it?
Okay, so for Fusion, it's just again more the same of last season, right? The only team to get taken to 5 games by the Shanghai Dragons, right? And
Yeah,
they're also
right.
our finalists. So that is a really great summary of how their season went last season, right? Completely up, on downs, ebbs and flows all season. But the best part about this season is that it is a standard roster, right? There wasn't a ton of movement for the Fusion.
Mhm.
And so they're going to have like their group of 6 that they know they're going into this with. And hopefully that helps with that consistency. You would assume that coming in with a more solid roster would help with consistency. And I know that they're also all talking about that, right? Like now that they
Yep.
all have had a year together, they all
Mhm.
inherently, I think, trust each other more as well, which should help with that consistency too. So it's all about, I think the way that we talk about Philly is not if they're going to be successful, it's going to be how successful are they going to be? Are we
Yeah.
going to say their name in the same way that we do in New York Excel and London Spitfire? I mean, they're at the same division, right?
Mhm.
Or are we going to put them as the best of the rest, right?
The Fusion have a very unique story in that, of course, NYXL, you have the London Spitfire, they're all Korean rosters, and Philadelphia Fusion made quite the splash with their mixed roster. They actually have the most diverse team in all of the league, a really good representation, I think, of kind of just the community. They have players from 9 different countries. So you got to imagine that, simply just like language barrier,
Yeah.
right? That's going to be an issue,
Yep.
right? You have to overcome that. Like even just the food, they all live in the same team house, and they have a team chef. So the support is there, but it's like, are we arguing about do we want pasta? Do we want sandwiches? Do we want kimchi today? Right. There's a lot of kind of that like initial hump to get over. I think, like you said, Boop, everything coming out of the Philadelphia Fusion is all about, hey, we trust each other now. We've pared down our roster to the core 8 players. Like we have real synergy this season, and that's what they're going to be riding on. For my favorite team, the London Spitfire, they already kind of they've been living together for a long time. They all come from Korea. They've all played together, for quite some time. But if something catastrophic was to happen to them, I'm guessing like just like a really strong gust of wind. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with their 2 DPS players, Birdring and Prophet, both of them tiny monster assassins. They're like
Yeah.
some of the smallest people I've ever seen,
Light.
yet so deadly, right? But if like a big gust of wind just blew through, maybe somebody left like a patio door open and just whisked the 2 of them away, then I don't know what's going to happen to the Spitfire. No DPS. I don't like the tank line's great. You got Gesture, you got, but like I don't know if they could cover.
Wow, what a cop out of an answer, huh? Couldn't
Just
find
saying.
anything wrong with
Right.
your favorite team. I see, yeah.
I'm trying to answer the question to the best of my ability. Just saying.
Man, guys, fascinating insights. Very excited because we're actually going to get to hear a little bit more about your guys' story. So looking forward to checking that out, which will be coming up right after the break. The Meta will be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the Meta. We're continuing our conversation with Boop NATO. You guys, fascinating insights on the Overwatch League Season 2 contenders. But I want to hear more about you guys' story. How did you guys even meet?
Okay, so this is
It's like,
where do
this
we
is long.
start?
You go.
This
You
is
go.
going to be
Yeah.
like
No,
30% of
this
the
is-
segment. Okay, so
Apologies
there's
beforehand.
some exposition that needs to take place because it all matters there at the end. So I actually got my start casting Hearthstone about 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm.
So yeah, I've been cutting my teeth for a little bit. So I was at a Hearthstone tournament. So I liked casting it, but at the time I didn't have enough cards to be competitive, but I wanted to like hang out with my buddies, and we went to a local LAN here in Colorado. Which Colorado happens to have a lot of esports people here for some
Denver,
reason. Yeah.
right?
But then I got eliminated first round, like in literally like 12 minutes. I think I played 3 Hearthstone games in 12 minutes. It was super rough. And one of the casters didn't show up. And my partner and I were like, hey, like, we've always like thought I would be good at this, and that was the opportunity that arose, and so I took it. And that guy ended up doing a bunch of Overwatch stuff and connected me with a group called Carbon Entertainment. And if you remember that name, they did Contender Season 0 and Overwatch Carbon series, which I did the Boop the Week for. way back in the day. And so through that, I met Left Guy, Alex Gilfrost. And through Alex, Alex and I did something with Wawa's Boot Camp all the time. A lot of names, but it's part of the history, right? We did a lot of stuff with Wawa's Boot Camp, and we were going to do a cast. And Alex is like, hey, there's this girl I know who's trying to get into casting. I think she's pretty good. And would it be okay for you to cast? And honestly, I don't think she knows this yet. At first, I was going to say no because I wanted to be famous with Left Guy.
Yeah,
right.
Actually, you have told me that before.
Yeah. And so like I thought about it. I was like, no, I can't do that. That's so unlike me. We got to help. We got to help the peeps out. And then we casted Wawa's Boot Camp at Carbon Entertainment. Yeah. And after our first cast,
it was like
I literally said it was like meeting my partner for the first time.
Straight
like
magic,
it is.
Right?
Yeah, no, it was so weird, dude. Like I went home and I was like, yo, John, this girl Evie is amazing, right? And like we're connected. Like this needs to keep happening.
It was a real connection, and like I don't have quite as much experience as Boop does. I actually Overwatch is my first title, but I also met Left Guy Alex Gilfrost at the Denver DreamHack, and that's kind of where I started. And I ended up kind of a little bit more in the community side. I began at Broadcast GG, the broadcast org that's actually going to be covering EU trials, which we'll be casting this week. And from there, kind of started very much at like very ground level. We created Scrim Nights, which is one of our offerings where we get, new up and coming casters paired off with teams that they can practice with. And from there, I was, just on the grind, and then reached out to Wawa's Boot Camp. And again, like they said, hey, we're full up on casters, but I was just so annoying. I was so annoying back in the day. Must have just pissed off tons of people because I was like, hey, well, but how about I just be an in-game observer? I know how to do that too. And Alex heard, and he was like, yo, we could just let's all just share, right? Yeah. We gotta give back to the community. He is a real legitimate gentleman. I love that guy. He has only good in his
almost
heart.
Everyone from Colorado to esports is connected Yulong and Alex
through Alex Gilfrost.
So really great person.
Yeah, and indeed, that was like my first studio experience, and it was with Boop. Could not have been better. Yeah. It felt like we had known each other for ages.
Yeah, I literally was just diagnosed with IBS at the time and told her everything about it.
Yeah, we were just,
that's how open, that's how connected we were.
Just like bathroom that. Story. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was immediate.
Immediate bathroom stories, and then we got into who we were, what we cast, and that kind of thing. But it was an actual immediate connection.
Yeah, and then we figured out that she's an hour and a half away in the Springs. I have this awesome studio here at the basement. We do our cast down here. And, through that, we grinded through Broadcast GG and then eventually ended up on Contenders. Yeah. It's funny. I always say that we happened to fall in it. Like we worked our butts off to get there.
It was a very long grind.
To be completely honest, we still have, there's a lot of work to still do to get to that
way
level,
more road
right?
ahead, right?
Yeah. And we're really excited to continue that journey together as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Would not have been the same without Boop. Just this whole thing, right? Having that partner that you can trust and, rely on has really made a huge difference.
Man, you guys, this has been great. Awesome conversation. Thank you so much for being on this episode of The Meta. Very excited to watch you on your journey. You guys are heading in amazing places, seriously. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having us. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, it's still crazy to think about the fact that people listen to us on purpose.
Yeah. On purpose. That's the operative phrase.
Yeah, exactly. So, but thank you, man. In all seriousness.
No problem. Guys, The Meta will be right back.
Welcome back to The Meta. Last week, a game that's been under wraps up until the last minute, Apex Legends, jumped onto the scene. Apex is a battle royale set in the Titanfall universe, and if you're familiar with the series, Respawn Entertainment have a recipe for something great on their hands, but does this game have what it takes to be considered an esport someday?
I think it's still too early to tell.
Valid.
But the attention to detail that was put into it really makes it stand out. Like you said, Charles, Respawn really has something special on their hands.
You know what? Time will tell. But for now, let's introduce you to Apex Legends.
Watch out, other Battle Royale games. There's a new contender on the scene and it's ready to snatch your souls and pillage your player base. Apex Legends has been on the scene less than a week and the hype surrounding the game is already incredibly substantial. Streamers, competitive players, and casuals alike are all raving about the shiny new BR on the market, and for everyone smart enough to download Respawn and EA's new free-to-play game, they haven't been disappointed yet. Much in the same vein as Fortnite, the free-to-play model makes the game incredibly accessible because, anyone can play it whenever they want. The free-to-play aspect combined with the intrigue of the BR genre is what drove Fortnite into the realm of the public eye in the first place. Add in a couple of major streamers and some celebrities and bam, it took off. Well, Apex Legends is setting itself up for a similar kind of success. After gaining over 1 million players in the first 8 hours of the game's release, and now at 10 million players after 72 hours and 1 million players concurrently at any given time, the game is skyrocketing into the realm of video game and streaming supremacy. Apex Legends is currently sitting at 281,000 viewers on Twitch, with League of Legends in a not-so-close second place at 145,000 viewers, and more than doubling the viewership of Fortnite, who's sitting at 129,000. Paid to play or not, this game was built for one thing and one thing only: to kill Fortnite. We have our first real Fortnite killer, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, EA may have paid some of the top streamers to play the game in the beginning, but the meat of the game itself is what's keeping people around. Respawn did all of the little things right with this game. Each hero having its own unique set of abilities allows for a variety of different play styles and tactics. Add in the ability to not only ping locations, items, and enemies without the need for complex verbal callouts, but now with integrated voice lines into the characters themselves, it helps augment those pings and the situational awareness of the players in the match. The gunplay mechanics, the maneuverability, the verticality of the game all play a role in making this one of the best BR experiences on the market. But the question still remains, how well can Battle Royales integrate themselves into the esports marketplace? Is Apex Legends just another fringe wannabe esport, or can it show that with superior tactics, incredible team gameplay, and a system designed around fostering a competitive environment, that it can find its way firmly onto the esports landscape? This game is fringe, it's niche, and it's new, but it has all the tools it needs to be considered a competitive game. But can it be only the second BR behind PUBG to truly be considered an esport? That remains to be seen.
Yo, BK, you know what? That game looks absolutely incredible.
I told you.
I haven't really gotten the chance to play it, but I know you have.
Yes, and I had so much fun. Titanfall gunplay is always quality, and what really makes me love this game is the well-integrated teamwork, and not having to talk to anyone is a bonus.
Now, hear me out. A battle royale with Titanfall mix. How sick would that be?
Oh, that sounds pretty visionary to me.
Right. But you know what? We don't have time to get carried away because, alas, we've come to the end of the episode. BK, thank you so much for being the guest host today.
Aww.
Had a blast having you on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a great time down here in Houston. I'm really enjoying the warmth.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to get you away from the polar vortex up there.
Thank God.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. This has been a blast. Thank you so much. Be sure to follow the show and Mainline on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just keep up. See some of the cool behind the scenes stuff this week. We're doing a lot of BK on there. Shout outs to you. Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to our producers and the cast and crew of The Meta. I'm Charles Powers. This is The Meta. See you next time. Optic and UIU were going, what the hell? I don't know. He went on Twitter to air his grievances. I really almost said again.
The player count is usually around a number that's not in there, but it's speculated that some of those numbers are due to a bug.
I literally walked in the room and told me to change that.
Told me to change that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I asked like 4 times too in the back.
Because he was talking, I was like, I think Charles is stalling again.
I'm stalling. Here at the Meta.
I'm done.
Cloud on Charles.
I quit.
Turning fire on something takes them all. Can't pass by this hill right now. It is just too dangerous.